Article Video Presentation. Article 1771. A partnership may be constituted in any form, except where immovable property or real right are contributed thereto, in which case a public instrument should be necessary. Form of partnership contract.
For art. 1771 tells us that, if there is immovable property contributed by a partner to the partnership, then the partnership must be in a public instrument. Meaning, it must be in writing then that written agreement must be. Notarized notarization makes an instrument a public instrument.
Sample question. If it is not in public instrument and an immovable property is contributed, does that make your partnership invalid? The answer is no, it is still valid, especially with respect to third persons whom you are dealing with as a partnership. The reason why it is in a public instrument, it is not for purposes of validity but for purposes only of convenience and for protection of third person. Article 1772. Every contract of partnership having a capital of 3,000 pesos or more in money or property shall appear in public instrument, which must be recorded in the office of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Failure to comply with the requirements of the preceding paragraph should not affect a liability of the partnership and the members thereof to third persons. Registration of partnership based on Art. 1770 to that tells us a partnership that must be in writing when the capital of partnership is 3,000 or more. Apart from it being in a public instrument, particular provision also tells us that the partnership must be registered with the Art. 1772. Every contract of partnership having a capital of 3,000 pesos or more in money or property shall appear in a public instrument, which must be recorded in the office of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Failure to comply with the requirements of the preceding paragraph shall not affect the liability of the partnership and the members thereof to third persons. Sample question. What if we do not comply with those requirements that it must be in a public instrument and that it will be registered with SEC? Does that mean that your partnership is void or invalid? The answer is no, because the law does not say it will become invalid or void. The reason for registration is merely to notify third persons of the existence of such partnership and also for the protection of the third persons. We also have a law in Art 1357. Civil Code which would give the parties the right to compel the other parties to observe that particular form. Article 1773. A contract of partnership is void whenever immovable property is contributed thereto, if an inventory of said property is not made, signed bully the parties, and attached to the public instrument. Partnership with contribution of immovable property. What makes partnership void if there is no inventory that is signed by the parties? If we create a partnership and there is a contribution of immovable property and there is no inventory that has been signed by the parties and attached to the public void means partnership does not recognized by law, does not exist. Art. 1773. Contract of partnership is void whenever immovable property is contributed thereto, if an inventory of said property is not made, signed by the parties, and attached to the public instrument. Conclusion. This merely demonstrates the significance of having an inventory because it will establish the amount contributed by each partner. As a result, our law mandates that an inventory be kept, particularly when immovable property is contributed to ensure that all partners are treated fairly. In fact, if you do not comply with these requirements, the law says that your partnership is null and void.